Hi, everyone. This is Dr. J, and welcome to week six of EDTC 614. Today, I am going to highlight what you'll be doing for week six. Now, before I do, a couple things to note here. First and foremost, I just want to thank everyone for your Project One submissions. You've had a chance to review them. I've seen some of the comments and the learnings, so I'm happy to see some of the interaction in the discussion board. So please continue with your interactions, and you'll be definitely getting more opportunities to do so this week in week six. But thank you for your submissions to date. I have received all of them. All of them, by the time this video is released, all of you should have received your grades for the assignment. And again, thank you for your work on this. And now we're going to start getting ready for the next project, which is part of what we're going to be doing with week six. But before I talk about project two, let's jump into what you'll be doing as part of your main assignment for this week. So for this week in week six, we're going to start looking at some of the additional design principles and multimedia principles associated with Clark and Mayer's work. Specifically, we're going to be looking at a couple of principles that relate to chapters 6 and 7. However, the discussion board, however, this week is going to actually take us a bit back because I want to highlight the other principles that were highlighted in weeks 4 and 5 that we did not talk about. Chapters 4 and 5 had readings last week, but you didn't have any discussions about them. Well, this week, your discussion board post, your main discussion board post, is going to be focused on each of you being assigned one of the chapters. So chapters 4, 5, 6, and 7, each of you will be assigned one chapter that you'll need to provide your summary on. And then you'll reply to the other topics covered by your colleagues, which will be the other chapters from chapters 4, 5, 6, and 7. So it's going to give you a good idea of how to look at some of these design principles. Some of these I think are, in my personal opinion, some of these are foundational pieces that everyone should be familiar with. So, for example, this week, you're going to have a chance to learn more about the multimedia principle. You're going to learn a little bit about the contiguity principle, the modality principle, as well, of course, as the signaling principle. These these are just some of the principles. We have a couple more principles to talk about when we get to chapters 7 and 8, as well as chapter 9. But what's important is I want you to start looking at all of these principles because the other part of what you're going to be doing this week is going to be beginning to kind of get ready for project two. Now, project two is going to be a podcast. A podcast in the sense that you only have to create one episode, could be audio, could be video, completely up to you. And it's going to be based on one of these principles, whether it's the coherence principle, the multimedia principle, the signaling principle. You will have a chance to pick one of these to create your podcast around. So this week, the discussion board is really going to be an opportunity to help you begin to get an understanding or gain an understanding of these different principles, and hopefully ask yourself, which one do I want to cover for my podcast? So that's what you're going to be doing this week. I am providing you with chapter 2 of the e-learning book. I actually found it to be very helpful when I was doing my research, and there's tons of resources out there on creating a podcast from a technical perspective, but I wanted to get into some of the more design elements of it. And when I look at some of the work specifically from our book, Podcasting with Youth, a quick guide for librarians and educators, I want you to focus on chapter 2 this week, which is getting started. It talks a little bit about just some of the different types of podcasting, some of the different ways you can think about podcasting. Don't overthink this, folks. It's going to be a podcast. I'm asking you to keep your podcast between, we'll say on average 5 minutes. Some people might do a little more, some people might do just a little less, but it should be maximum no more than 10 minutes. And it should definitely be something um m- uh, definitely closer to the 5 minute range. Because you're going to be talking about some of these principles. You should give some examples. I'll give you some guidelines on this next week. But for right now, read chapter 2 of the Podcasting with Youth ebook and start formulating your ideas of how you want to maybe how you want to approach your podcast assignment, which by the way will be due at the end of October. That doesn't seem so far away. It is, but it seems far away, but it actually is not that far away. So let's take a look at this stuff together, folks. Continue doing the work that you're doing. I look forward to chatting with each of you in the coming days and weeks. But in the meantime, reach out to me if you have any questions. Again, your discussion board item this week on the principles, respond to at least two other students, and continue reviewing the materials on project 2 so you can start getting yourself ready for this project in the coming weeks. So with that, thanks again, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your week. And stay warm. It seems to be getting a little colder now that we're in the first full week of October. So, well, second week of October, if you want to get technical, but it's really the first full week of October. Anyway, thanks again, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your week. Take care, and we'll talk soon.